When the Colosseum was built, it had an enormous effect because of its size, status, and presence in Rome.
For centuries, people have stared at the Roman Colosseum in Rome and wondered the same thing. What really happened to its missing side? We're talking about one of the greatest structures ever built by the ancient world, and yet a huge chunk of its outer wall has been gone for hundreds of years. Now, artificial intelligence has now stepped in and basically done what generations of historians and archaeologists couldn't fully do. So what exactly did AI uncover? You're going to want to stay all the way to the end of this video, because what AI revealed about this ancient wonder might completely change the way you see history. The Colosseum's missing side. For decades, researchers worked patiently to understand how the Colosseum once looked in full glory, long before damage, neglect, and rebuilding changed the structure forever. The massive amphitheater, known today as the Colosseum, did not always appear as a broken shell of stone and arches. Large sections disappeared over time, and countless alterations blurred the original design. A quiet but powerful question followed every study and every excavation. What exactly did this monument look like when Roman crowds filled every seat? Traditional archaeological methods carried the weight of answering that question. Progress moved slowly, often painfully slowly, because each stone and each corridor demanded careful attention. When archaeologist Heinz-Jürgen Bester began exploring the Hypogeum in 1996, confusion surfaced almost immediately. The underground maze of tunnels, lifts, shafts, and chambers presented a puzzle so complicated that even experienced experts felt overwhelmed. Best openly admitted that the site's complexity explained why earlier generations never fully analyzed the underground system. According to statements shared at the time, the layout felt almost horrifying in its intricacy. Instead of modern scanning tools, the team relied on measuring tapes, plumb lines, spirit levels, paper, and pencils. Every corridor had to be measured by hand. Every wall thickness had to be drawn manually. Every elevation had to be checked again and again. This slow documentation process lasted 4 full years. Many might ask why such an old-fashioned approach was defended in an age of faster technology. Beste explained that slow drawing forced intense concentration. Careful repetition allowed details to sink deeply into memory. Gradually, while drawing line after line, a mental image of the original structure began to form. Through this steady method, 4 major building phases emerged, along with many smaller changes spread across almost 4 centuries of use. Marks carved into masonry began to make sense when compared with Roman mechanical systems excavated in southern Italy. Reverse engineering became part of the process. Instead of guessing, models were built using toothpicks, cardboard, paste, and tracing paper. These simple materials demonstrated how lift systems once raised animals and stage props into the arena. Could such humble tools truly unlock ancient engineering secrets? Surprisingly, precision measurements combined with creative modeling provided convincing answers. Systematic excavation also played a role. The vast southern section, covering roughly 3,000 square meters, required removing layers of cobblestone and digging carefully beneath. Teams worked slowly, peeling back soil and debris layer by layer. Brick stamp databases from Imperial Rome helped date certain elements, connecting pieces of stonework to specific emperors and time periods. Every small clue mattered because reconstruction faced strict international limits. The 1964 Venice Charter declared that full reconstruction should be ruled out. Only anastylosis, meaning the reassembly of original but broken parts, received approval. Later, UNESCO reinforced similar restrictions through the World Heritage Convention. Reconstruction was considered acceptable only when complete documentation existed, leaving no room for guesswork. Archaeologist Simon James summarized the challenge bluntly by stating that every reconstruction carried some degree of error. That statement revealed a deeper truth. Even with careful study, certainty remained out of reach. How could anyone fully restore something when time erased so much evidence? Historical gaps made matters worse. After the 6th century, the amphitheater entered a long period of neglect. For nearly 1,500 years, the structure endured scavenging, repurposing, and uncontrolled construction. Romans treated the building as a quarry, removing stone blocks for other projects. Dirt and rubble filled the underground chambers. Vegetable gardens took root inside former corridors. Hay storage and animal waste covered once intricate mechanical spaces. Only in the 1930s, during the rule of Benito Mussolini, did workers clear the hypogeum permanently. Yet even that clearing removed layers of evidence that might have revealed older clues. Full restoration efforts began much later in the 1990s. Public access to the underground sections opened only in 2011, nearly 2,000 years after original construction between 72 and 80 AD. Such a long period of abandonment erased not only physical evidence, but also living memory of how the structure once functioned. The loss of records deepened the mystery. Ancient texts rarely described technical details of arena machinery. Drawings from Roman times did not survive in complete form. Oral tradition faded as generations passed. As a result, researchers relied on fragments, measurements, tool marks, and comparisons with other Roman engineering sites. Each discovery answered one question while raising another. What stood where empty space now exists? How many lifts operated beneath the arena floor? What mechanisms controlled stage scenery and wild animal entrances? Careful study reduced uncertainty, yet full certainty remained impossible. Despite these limits, decades of patient research gradually reshaped understanding of the Colosseum's original appearance. What once seemed like a chaotic ruin began to reveal patterns, phases, and purposeful design. The effort showed something remarkable: that persistence, even when bound by strict conservation rules and incomplete records, can slowly peel back the layers of history, revealing truths that once seemed impossible to uncover. Every painstaking step, every careful analysis brought the team closer to understanding, but without ever crossing into speculation or imagination. It was a delicate balance, a tightrope walk between science and mystery. And just when it seemed the story couldn't get any more revealing, AI entered the picture, unlocking insights no human could achieve alone. Watch closely till the very end. You won't believe what it uncovered. How AI was used to decode the mystery. Digital technology stepped in where traditional, manual methods reached their limits, and officials explained that researchers began applying artificial intelligence to analyze the Colosseum's surviving structures and reconstruct what centuries of earthquakes, stone quarrying, and erosion had erased. A question naturally emerged: how could modern computers help make sense of ruins that had stood for almost 2,000 years? Officials explained that the investigation relied on AI models capable of processing massive amounts of architectural data at the same time, far beyond what any team of humans could manage. One such system, named Aeneas after a Greco-Roman mythological figure, served a specialized purpose, analyzing ancient Roman structures, inscriptions, and even subtle details embedded in stone surfaces. Officials described Aeneas as a multimodal generative neural network capable of taking both images and text as input and then drawing connections that humans could not immediately see. Computer vision proved central to this technological approach, with AI-powered image recognition algorithms meticulously scanning cracks, erosion patterns, and tiny structural shifts across the Colosseum's monumental facade. Officials explained that these algorithms could detect features invisible to human eyes, making it possible to understand how the original structure had slowly deteriorated over centuries. A natural question arose: how could patterns hidden in worn stone or chipped columns reveal anything meaningful? Officials answered that machine learning models trained to interpret patterns could uncover subtle correlations, such as wear marks, erosion lines, and alignment shifts that hinted at the original construction methods or structural stresses. In one example, researchers applied similar AI techniques to analyze ancient Roman game boards by running thousands of virtual simulations, showing how repeated wear could indicate usage patterns. By the same logic, officials explained, AI could analyze the Colosseum's stone and masonry to decode structural mysteries that had baffled historians for generations. Officials also detailed the extensive process required to train these AI systems, emphasizing the need for enormous curated datasets. Researchers drew from decades of historical work, gathering information from digital collections such as the epigraphic database Roma, epigraphic database Heidelberg, and the epigraphic database Klaus-Slaby. All of these sources were cleaned, harmonized, and linked into a single machine actionable dataset that included over 176,000 Latin inscriptions from across the Roman world. Officials described how this dataset enabled the AI to develop what they called historical fingerprints, with each inscription receiving encoding that captured textual content, language characteristics, temporal origin, geographic location, and connections to other inscriptions. The system then learned to predict missing Latin text, achieving up to 73% accuracy when gaps were small, and 58% when lengths of missing text were unknown. A natural question surfaced: how could a computer guess missing words from inscriptions carved almost 2,000 years ago? Officials explained that the AI drew on contextual patterns and historical relationships between inscriptions, effectively learning the rules of Latin writing across time and space. Digital reconstruction relied heavily on 3D scanning, officials reported, with terrestrial laser scanning forming the foundation of the work. Teams employed instruments such as the Leica scan station P30 to create highly precise point clouds of the Colosseum, capturing details that traditional GPS devices or 2D architectural drawings could never match. The captured data was processed with specialized software like Leica Cyclone Register 360, which registered, cleaned, and extracted surface meshes from the point clouds. Officials added that aerial photogrammetry complemented the laser scanning by providing panoramic photographs and additional fine detail. Sophisticated photogrammetry software corrected distortion from overlapping images, producing accurate 3D models of every surface. Neural radiance fields combined with AI capabilities helped reconstruct missing parts, while generative adversarial networks filled gaps where structural collapse or erosion had removed original features. A question naturally arose: could AI really imagine how a building looked centuries ago with nothing left but fragments? Officials explained that the combination of scanned data, historical records, and learned patterns allowed the AI to predict the original shapes and positions of architectural elements with remarkable accuracy. Pattern recognition emerged as one of AI's most valuable contributions. Officials described how machine learning models trained on fragments of damaged material could recognize subtle texture variations that hinted at original design features. For example, one model was trained to detect crackle patterns resembling dried mud, which sometimes indicated traces of ancient ink. These insights helped reconstruct inscriptions or decorative motifs that had almost completely vanished. The technology also identified points in scans that were adjacent on segments of structural layers, automating tasks that previously required painstaking manual tracing. Officials emphasized that this capability was particularly crucial for analyzing complex architectural elements, such as arches, vaults, and column assemblies, and for understanding how different components related spatially. Another question arose: how could a computer know which pieces fit together when so much was missing? Officials explained that AI relied on statistical patterns, historical knowledge, and spatial relationships learned from thousands of other Roman structures, allowing it to suggest likely configurations with a high degree of confidence. Officials described the process as a combination of archaeology, history, and advanced computational analysis, all working together to recreate a structure almost 2 millennia old in digital form. The project illustrated how modern technology could step in where traditional methods failed. Officials reported that AI enabled researchers to work with data in ways that would have been impossible for humans alone. Algorithms detected patterns invisible to the naked eye, reconstructed missing text, and even predicted structural details that had disappeared over centuries of damage and human intervention. Officials described the work as a collaboration between digital systems and human expertise, with AI handling massive datasets and subtle pattern recognition, while human researchers guided the process with historical knowledge, architectural understanding, and interpretive judgment. A final question lingered: could such techniques change the way ancient monuments were studied forever? Officials argued that this combination of scanning, AI, and historical databases represented a new era for archaeology, where digital reconstructions could bring ancient buildings back to life, reveal lost inscriptions, and allow scholars to understand long-forgotten construction techniques. Every step, from scanning stone surfaces to decoding Latin inscriptions, contributed to a detailed understanding of the Colosseum as it had existed centuries ago, long before earthquakes, quarrying, and erosion had reshaped its iconic silhouette. Officials also highlighted the collaborative nature of the project. Historians, architects, engineers, and computer scientists worked together, blending centuries of accumulated knowledge with the computational power of AI. A question emerged naturally. Could humans and machines really understand each other in this kind of work? Officials answered that careful coordination, guided training datasets, and constant validation of AI results against known historical facts allowed researchers to maintain trust in the digital reconstructions. Officials added that as AI continued to learn from new data and new discoveries, the system would improve, producing even more accurate reconstructions of both inscriptions and structural features over time. Officials soon realized this project was far more than just digitally reconstructing a monument. It was about capturing centuries of human effort, ingenuity, and artistry, preserving knowledge that might otherwise be lost forever. Every measurement, every stone, every curve told a story of how the Colosseum endured earthquakes, centuries of quarrying, and the relentless passage of time. And now, with AI analyzing every detail, secrets about its original design were coming to light in ways no historian could have imagined. Stay with me until the very end, because what AI revealed about the Colosseum's original design will completely change the way you see history. What AI revealed about the original design? Digital reconstruction revealed details of the missing side that manual archaeology had struggled to record for centuries, and officials explained that AI analysis confirmed architectural elements destroyed by earthquakes, preserving measurements and structural features once thought lost forever. Questions naturally arose about the scale and precision of the original design. How could engineers of that period achieve such balance and symmetry without modern tools? The complete structure reportedly stretched 189 meters in length and 156 meters in width, rising to about 50 meters tall, and its elliptical design followed the classic 5:3 ratio common in the era. The exterior included 3 levels of superimposed arches, each supported by engaged semicircular columns. Ground-level arches measured 4.2 meters wide and 7.05 meters tall, while upper-level arches retained the same width but stood at 6.45 meters, creating a rhythmic pattern visible from a distance. Every story featured a distinct order of columns, with Tuscan on the bottom, Ionic on the second, and Corinthian on the third, and a fourth blind story contained pilasters, with Corinthian capitals punctuated by small rectangular windows. Officials noted that stone socles between these windows once held 240 masts, supporting the massive velarium awning. Observers often asked how ancient engineers balanced the pressures of such a vast structure, and the explanation came through construction techniques that employed barrel and groin vaults, creating horizontal forces that countered each other as they connected to the ground. The building functioned through a careful balance where the downward thrust of external walls matched the outward thrust of the barrel vaults in the circular promenades, and radial walls, constructed like wheel spokes from the arena ring, helped relieve additional stress, making the entire structure remarkably stable. Materials used reflected both scale and sophistication, with an estimated 100,000 cubic meters of travertine stone combined with similar measures of Roman cement, bricks, and tuff blocks, while roughly 300 tons of iron clamps held large blocks together. Concrete formed the foundations and core structures, travertine limestone created the outer walls, and volcanic tuff provided lightweight support for internal sections. Seating arrangements reflected social hierarchy, accommodating between 50,000 and 80,000 spectators across 5-tiered levels, with senators in the podium, equestrians in the Maenianum primum, and ordinary citizens occupying the upper sections. Every layer of the amphitheatre demonstrated careful planning to meet both structural and social needs, raising questions about the ingenuity and organizational skills of Roman engineers. How did they calculate stress, weight, and balance so precisely? Officials explained that each barrel vault, each radial wall, and every column order contributed to a structure that combined strength, aesthetics, and functional capacity. Reconstruction also revealed that the original seating tiers were arranged in a circular fashion around the arena, with passages and staircases allowing controlled movement of spectators while ensuring clear sightlines. The outer walls, composed of travertine limestone, endured centuries of weathering, and the inner structures relied on lighter volcanic tuff to reduce stress while supporting the massive crowds. Investigators noted that the stone socles and masts of the velarium awning demonstrated advanced knowledge of tensile forces and shading, showing that engineers understood not only structural stability but also audience comfort. Each arch and column carried its own load and purpose, yet together they created a harmonious, balanced whole. Officials pointed out that these findings gave insight into both the technical mastery and cultural priorities of the builders, revealing that architecture of the period combined artistry, engineering, and social organization in ways still impressive today. The amphitheater's ability to host tens of thousands of spectators safely while maintaining aesthetic proportions and structural integrity raised ongoing curiosity about construction timelines and labor management. How long did it take to quarry, transport, and assemble these enormous blocks? How did workers ensure precise alignment of arches and vaults over multiple stories? Investigators concluded that careful planning, sophisticated construction techniques, and extensive use of durable materials allowed this monumental building to stand for centuries, survive natural disasters, and leave a legacy that modern digital reconstruction could now partially restore and explain in detail. With this, we have come to the end of this video. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, do well to like, comment, and subscribe for more content. To enjoy more thrilling stories, click now on the following video that pops up on your screen.